Good day, algebra students. This is Mr. Morales. I'm going to go over, the first part of this algebra review you have for your common assessment. So the first three equations we have in this review are all basically just solving for various variables. In this case, we have x, a, and b. So without any further, waste of time, let's just jump right into it. If you automatically know how to do this and have the right answers on your own, feel free to jump ahead in the video or go to the next part. So for number one, we have the fraction 2/5 x minus 7 equals 13. And I know that a lot of people can fit the work in the little space above, but I prefer to write everything out, especially for tests, on a separate sheet of paper. And I suggest you use whatever you can when you do these kind of problems so you don't make any mistakes. So here we go. I draw my little borderline here, so to speak. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 7 to both sides of this equation, because I'm trying to isolate the 2/5 x. So since I didn't touch it at all, it falls straight down, and I have 2/5 x. The minus 7 plus 7 equals 0, so I can just leave them out. Equal sign falls down. Then I have 13 plus 7, which is 20. Now I have to get rid of this fraction. I have the fraction 2/5, and we all learned that in order to cancel out, well, not cancel out, but to make a fraction equal to 1, we multiply it times its reciprocal. So I flip it upside down and multiply both sides of my equation by the reciprocal. So the effect I have over here is 5/2 times 2/5 is 1x. Equal sign falls down. 20 times 5 is 100, cut in half is 50. So basically my answer is a single x equals 50 for this first equation. And I believe that does work with our answer. For part 2 over here, now we have the equation. Let's see what we have up here. We're going to be solving for a, and we have the equation 10 plus 6a equals 1/2 minus the parentheses 4a plus 20 minus 18. So we have quite a bit of work to do here. We're going to have to do some distribution first with this fraction and this parentheses before we can start combining like terms. So let me show you how to do that over here. First step is I'm going to write the entire equation all over again. Doing it manually is the best thing to do, especially with these more complicated equations. So 10 plus 6a equals 1/2, parentheses, minus 4a plus 20, all in parentheses, minus 18. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the distributive property. So let's go ahead and do 1/2 times -4. Since I didn't touch anything in the front, I'm going to go ahead and just bring this right on down. So 1/2 of a -4, 1/2 of -4 is going to be a -2a. 1/2 of a positive 20 is a positive 10. Since I already distributed now, the parentheses can fall away, and I can just bring down whatever else I didn't use, in this case, the minus 18. So now I have distributed the parts of the equation. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So what I have here is, I'm going to go start my variables, because we like to have our variables first when we get at the choice. So I have 10 plus 6a on the left, so nothing to combine there. And over here on the right side, I have a -2a, but I do have some whole numbers I can combine. So I'll drop down this -2a as well as the stuff that's in front. And then I have positive 10 minus 18. So 10 minus 18 leaves me with a -8. I still need to somehow bring my variables to the same side. What I prefer to do is to go right on ahead and just bring the lowest amount of variables, in this case the -2, and figure out how to bring them to the other side. Well, like everything with these problems, it's all about canceling out. So what will cancel out a -2a? Well, in that case, it would be adding 2a. And whatever I do to one side of my equation, I do to the other side. Because the whole point is to get my variables all on one side. I'm sorry I use different forms of a here, but that's what it is right there. I'll try to correct it right now so you don't hate me. All right, so the 10 comes down. The 6a plus 2a gives me a total of 8a. Equal sign falls down. I have -2a plus 2a, that all equals 0. And then now my -8, or -8 in this case now, falls down. Okay, so now it's basically just a two-step equation. So I'll solve it just the way I would. I would first get rid of this positive 10 by subtracting 10 from both sides. When I do that, the effect is positive 10 minus 10 is 0. This positive 8a falls down. Equal sign comes down. I have a little bit of math to do. Negative 8 minus 10 more. That's going to go ahead and give me a negative 18. I feel like there's something wrong here. Let's keep going. Negative 18. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 8. Make it a equals negative 18. There we go. I see what's happening. Over 8. But my answer key says negative 9 over 4. So I have to simplify this fraction. 18 and 8 are both even numbers, so if I cut them both in half, I get negative 9 over 4. And that does work with our answer. So that's how you solve number 2. Let's go ahead now and work on number 3. Number 3 is not as complicated, I guess, but it involves pretty much more or less the same kind of thing. We have 6 times the quantity b plus 3 in parentheses plus 12b equals 72. So once again, I'll begin by drawing or writing my equation all over again before I attack it. So number 3, it is 6 parentheses b plus 3 plus 12b equals 72. All right, so all I have to do is some distribution first. So 6 times b is 6b. 6 times a positive 3, because you always take the sign in front of the number, 6 times a positive 3 is a positive 18, so plus 18 in this case. My plus 12b will come right on down. Then I have the equals 72 that also comes right on down. Now I need to combine like terms. I have 6b's plus 12b's. So if I combine them, I get 18b's. I have a plus 18 that falls right on down and equals 72 as my total. Now I just solve this like a two-step equation. I'll draw my little wall here. And first thing I'm going to do before I can isolate the 18b is to subtract 18 from both sides. The 18b falls down. The plus 18 minus 18, that gives us a 0. So we can just kind of let that go away. Then we have 72 minus 18. And 72 minus 18, do my quick math in my head, it's going to give us a 54. Whoops, I forgot my b to go there. Almost, that would have been a critical mistake. So 18b equals 54. Now to isolate b, I divide both sides by 18. 18 divided by 18 is a single or 1b. 54 divided by 18 is 3. So I have a nice answer of b equals 3. And that does also coincide with our answer key. So there's the first 3 problems done. And I figured, well, I have a little more time. Let's go ahead and just jump into, I guess, the next few problems. So let's go ahead and work on numbers 4, 5, and 6. So I'll clean this page out.